So we had planned to make this segment about the potential interception of the Samud flotilla that is heading to Gaza that was expected to come overnight because the flotilla has now entered the nautical mileage space at which each flotilla before them has been intercepted by Israeli Navy, but still smooth sailing, fascinating.
Literally smooth sailing.
Yeah, smooth sailing. Well, I think rough seas, but otherwise smooth sailing, headed towards the Gaza shore. So we'll keep you updated as that unfolds. But instead, let's talk about what else we were going to talk about in this segment, which is updates on the Trump-Netanyahu take it or leave it offer that he made to the Palestinians, but also it's incredible developments when it comes to the kind of propaganda side. So recently you had Netanyahu meeting with a bunch of influencers, which, and he said, like, the way that we're going to respond to the problems that Israel's image is facing worldwide is we're going to have our influencers go out there and make the case on TikTok. And he also said the most important thing to do is to purchase TikTok. Like that was his word. And Larry Ellison, a close ally of Israel through Oracle, is indeed doing that. But so incredible discovery, it's in a FARA filing by Quincy Institute researcher Nick Cleveland Stout. Mm-hmm. And put this C1 up on the screen. New document reveals the Israeli government paying a cohort of 14 to 18 social media influencers between $6,100 and $7,300 per post.
The show is now fully in support of Israel, and our coverage will only be supportive of Israel. $7,000 a post every time we post about it.
So if we do, let's say, if we do a 15-minute segment that's slobbering about Israel, and then we cut it up into like 15 different clips.
We'd be so rich.
Can we cash $7,000 each?
We're leaving a lot of money on the table.
That is big money. That is a lot of money. So we don't yet know the identities of these 14 to 18 social media influencers.
We can guess.
We can certainly guess.
That'd be a fun game.
At some of them,
it's like a game show.
I think a week ago, Brianna Wu announced that she'd be going to TikTok to start doing pro-Israel content. I don't know if she's getting paid or not, but interesting.
Guess the pro-Israel influencers. It's like
interesting timing.
Amazing.
$7,000 per post. And so we've seen some of the. I don't know if these are the influencers getting paid, but we've seen, you see a lot of posts that have started to circulate. I'm curious for your take on this. I think that they are, now they have endless amounts of money, and also Dropsite reported, citing Haaretz actually, that Israel just approved another $40 million boost to their global propaganda budget. This is on top of a $150 million increase over what they had already been doing. $24 million of that is for, quote, global influence campaigns, and $16 million is to finance international delegations visiting Israel. Mm-hmm. So these are the, whether it's lawmakers or influencers, they fund your trip, flights, from New York to Tel Aviv, nice hotels, good food, free food and drinks, travel, like your entire trip is paid for. They send, good-looking IDF soldiers around with you. It's like this whole shtick.
Hexas type of soldiers.
Yeah, and exactly, yes. No. BMI is appropriate for that Hexas would be.
No beards.
Not ashamed, no beards.
No beardos.
And try to give them a good time, and then they go back and they have warm feelings, and they meet people who dangle future opportunities. This is much more direct. Like, here's $7,000 to say something nice about us on TikTok, mm-hmm. and then they have the problem of but nobody wants to hear that. So they take over TikTok and juice the algorithm so that you have to hear it. Like, it's just going to show up in your For You page.
Well, that's an important point.
Yeah.
So this is something that Nick Cleveland Stout reports over at Quincy, which is, I actually think, getting underreported. This is coming from Brad Parscale,
mm-hmm.
also. And
former Trump campaign manager, right?
Right. And part of this is also about, I'm trying to find the exact part where Nick mentions this, but part of it is also about gaming ChatGPT and AI search engine. It's specifically in what Nick reports on. He has a new, this is what it is. So he did a follow-up, and it's outlines the Brad Parscale of it all. And Brad Parscale is also, this is coming to Salem Media Group. Did you catch this part of it? So Clock Tower, I think that's Parscale's group, will integrate its pro-Israel messaging into Salem Media Network Properties, a conservative Christian media group that boasts a vast radio network and produces high-profile shows such as Hugh Hewitt, Larry Elder, Right View with Laura Trump. In April, the conservative media network announced Donald Trump Jr. and Laura Trump as significant stakeholders in the new company. Salem Media Network did not respond to a question clarifying whether it would be compensated by Clock Tower for promoting messages on behalf of Israel or how these messages would be integrated. That is American media.
Right.
That is actually some like conservative news outlets that could be then infiltrated by paid propaganda. There's a difference, and that's not a distinction without a difference. Propaganda is propaganda, yes. When people are actually getting paid by a foreign government to do propaganda in ostensible news outlets, that's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, so follow the money here. So, well, I guess the money starts in the United States. So it is American taxpayer money. But so then we subsidize Israel. Israel uses the money then to send to Brad Parscale, the Trump campaign manager, who then gives it to Lara Trump and other people, presumably, in order to foist Israeli propaganda into these media properties, because ChatGPT is trained to believe that these media properties have some level of reliability and substance to them. Because ChatGPT is probably told, don't just scrape things from government propaganda websites and then believe it to be the case. Like, it's more reliable to trust news sources rather than direct propaganda. So you pay to have the propaganda then smothered into the news properties, these right-wing news properties, and then ChatGPT absorbs it into its code. And then when you ask ChatGPT, is Israel good? ChatGPT responds based on the raw material that it's producing from these news shows, which then also they have Wikipedia armies that then try to edit Wikipedia articles, sourcing to these news shows that they have fought internally inside Wikipedia to get labeled as credible news sources. And then you tilt Wikipedia, and then Wikipedia becomes raw material for ChatGPT and other AI as well, because within a few years, everyone's understanding of reality will be shaped by whatever these AIs tell them is the reality. So there's this massive arms race to shape what that reality is going to look like.
And by the way, this happened right after, and Nick mentions this, we probably mentioned this on the show, but the SKDK Knickerbocker campaign to run a bot farm for the Israeli narratives on social
to that
media.
Stagwell group thing that we reported on,
Right, yeah, exactly. So this is coming, lest you think it is just conservative media that's being infiltrated, Democrats are taking money to infiltrate social media with these narratives as well,
and
which is, man.
No, and it can't happen a moment too soon for Israel, because let's take a look at the trash that they're currently putting out. We put up C2. So Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs yesterday put out this post saying, exposed official Hamas documents, and that's when everybody is like, oh my God, official Hamas documents, yeah, sure. Found in the Gaza Strip, now revealed for the first time. Turns out they tried to reveal these exact same documents in June, and they think we all forgot about it, prove Hamas's direct involvement in the funding and execution of the Samud flotilla to Gaza. Huge news if true. You then poke a little bit further into it, and it turns out none of this is remotely true. But they write, Hamas documents that were discovered in the Gaza Strip and are being revealed for the first time, again, not true, show a direct link between the flotilla leaders and the Hamas terrorist organization. The way they try to put this together, they say the Palestinian Conference for Palestinians Abroad was established in 2018 and functions as Hamas's representative body abroad, operating de facto as Hamas embassies. The organization operates under the pretense of civilian cover and is responsible on behalf of Hamas for mobilizing actions against Israel. Then it says, First official Hamas document was found in the Gaza Strip, a letter from 2021 signed by head of the Hamas political bureau, Ismail Haniyeh, directly and explicitly calling on the PCPA chairman for unity. So let's pretend, and I posted this on Twitter and said this should be a critical thinking test for like students in a class on propaganda. So let's pretend for a second that all of this, everything that they're saying within the four corners of this is true. Huge, gigantic if, but let's just pretend. Let's say they have a letter from Haniyeh, who they assassinated in Tehran in his bedroom, that is calling on the PCPA chairman for unity in 2021. So here, put on your critical thinking hat. If Haniyeh has to ask the PCPA for unity, does Hamas run the PCPA? Think that one through. Like, if they're not happy with whatever the PCPA is doing, why are they out there asking for unity? Separately, this is 2021. Was this Samud flotilla class organized in 2021? Anyway, so
if you're just listening to this, you're missing Ryan's facial expression.
So anyway, Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs is in desperate need of help. So this $40 million boost, it couldn't come a moment too soon. And good Lord, these 14 to 18 TikTokers are going to have their work cut out for them. Can you imagine being fed this stuff? Be like, all right, for $7,000, make a post about how this is true.
Yeah.
And let's imagine for a second that you have critical thinking skills and you read this and you're like, oh my God, this is what you're going with. And I haven't even mentioned yet that they put up some documents, they put up some photos with Greta and then circled a guy in red. The guy in red is George Galloway, who's a British citizen and former member of parliament, who, in Israel's defense, is pretty like Hezbollah and Hamas sympathetic. Like he will look up any interviews with him. He's fun to watch, very like articulate and passionate defender of armed resistance to colonialism all over the globe. But he's not the guy they're saying he is.
Right.
It's like,
getting it wrong.
You're getting it wrong here. And also, it's George Galloway. So what's your point? You found Greta in a picture with George Galloway. This is your evidence. And again, like I said, this is pretending that all of this is actually authentic and true, which is a gigantic if. Why it's serious is that these are the kinds of things they do before they take violent action against, in this instance, the flotilla, to try to say, like, actually, the flotilla is Hamas.
Right.
And that's why we had to blow it out of the water.
Priming.
Let's hope that this is not the case.
Priming the pump. Yep.
So anyway, and a quick update as well on the savage attacks on Palestinians inside Gaza. If you thought that they were going to abate while the final discussions around the take it or leave it offer from Trump and Netanyahu are being considered, you would be wrong. We can put up this next element up on the screen. There was another double tap strike, this one in Gaza City's Al Zaytun neighborhood, where they hit a school and then waited until paramedics and civil defense, whose job it is to get people out of the rubble, showed up at the site and then hit it again. If you want more details on what's been going on the last 48 hours, I would just suggest you sign up for Drop Site Daily. This is our new morning newsletter, which really goes into detail what's going on there. And then when it comes to the negotiations, two pieces of news there. You can put up C4. Trump was asked how much time does Hamas get, and he said 3 or 4 days. Al Jazeera now reporting that officials from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey met in Doha on Tuesday with the Hamas negotiating delegation to go over the 20-point ceasefire plan. Hamas said it will study it with, quote, with great responsibility, which is, that's not an outright rejection. And I do think they're under enormous pressure to say yes to this. And we can put up C5. Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which is kind of the second largest resistance faction in the coalition, initially came out with a pretty blunt not rejection, but condemnation of it. I think nobody wants to say that this is going to be good, because if it does go into place, Palestinians will be living with the consequences of it for years to come, and they don't want to endorse it. But that's different than trying to find a way to accept it. And so a PIJ spokesperson is out again, kind of condemning it, but also saying that, they want Palestinian unity and they want the Palestinian Authority to agree to it. This is a kind of hold hands and jump type of statement. So you can read it here, but very critical of it. And they're trying to get the Arab countries, they say if Arabs have a real role, they must pressure Trump to adopt their statement, because the 21-point plan that the Arab leaders agreed to became a 20-point, significantly edited plan after they met with Netanyahu. They're saying, can we at least go back to that initial one? I doubt they'll be able to do that. So they'll have a couple days before they respond, but I've asked a bunch of different Palestinians in Gaza what their take is on this, and to a person, they say, like, we just want this to end. Like, it doesn't, this terrible deal, but we just want this to end.
Right.
Under any circumstances, under any condition. People are starving to death and living in tents if they're lucky.
Right.
Like, it's actually pretty hard to get a tent, let alone food and water and access to medical care. So people just want this to stop. And so I think the Hamas will come back with some type of yes with some tweaks.
Right, with some tweaks.
And we'll see if Netanyahu uses the attempt to get some tweaks to then just restart the war.
It's all, and it's very possible, obviously, as you guys have reported, that it was a giant pretext because Donald Trump and Netanyahu, I was at the press conference, made a point of emphasizing we could do this the easy way or the hard way, and that Netanyahu will be able to, as they said, Israel will be able to take care of the rest itself. So not an unfair reading of the agreement they worked on.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show, ad-free, and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.